Hey crew, this is a short optional mini band glute and abductor workout. So we're going to get into those beautiful muscles on the side of our hips and glutes and outer thighs that help us move our legs away from center line of body. And this translates into some nice definition. I will be using a heavy rubber band for some of this. You don't have to, but it adds a little bit, and I'll give options to when I'll use it and when I won't use it. We're going to start just a little conditioning standing, bringing that band, if you have it, over your upper thighs. Just bringing your feet about hip width distance apart. I like to turn the toes out slightly so that the heel, or so the knees stay in line with the toes. And just make sure you have a little bit of resistance on your band. If you have a band, don't let your knees collapse in. So take an inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to squat down. And we're just going to do 15 of these. When you press up, press through your heels, almost like you're thrusting forward, getting a little extra glute squeeze at the top, and finding this resistance in the band the whole time. Let's go for 5 more. And chest tall. And breath is always king. So inhale to lower for 2. Exhale to lift and squeeze. Last 1. And then stay low and just pause. Tuck your tail, kind of like a chair pose for my yogi reference. Just sit nice and low and just find a little press out with that band and back through center. So don't collapse in, just press out and then come through center. A little roll maybe to the outer foot and then back through all 4 corners for 5. Chest is tall, neck is relaxed for 2. And 1. Come to stand. You might want to hold on to a wall and also make sure that you have space. Hold on to this windowsill. Have your feet hip width distance apart and find softness through your knee, especially your standing leg, which is going to become that left leg. And as we shift a little bit over to the left, keep your torso tall, flex your right foot, and just start to lift the foot up and squeeze it to the side. Inhale, hover. Exhale, lift and squeeze. Doesn't have to be a big movement. You'll start to feel this through the outer line of leg and hip. And this is exactly what this muscle group does. We're just adding potentially a bit of resistance. Never letting that foot touch down, so hovering it the whole time. Let's go for 5. For 4. Now counting more time than reps. 3. 2. And 1. Relax it down. Switch to the other side. Find a tall spine. Find the softening. Now the beautiful thing of the other side is that your leg is already a tiny bit tired from doing the work, and now it's going to stabilize you. Hover the other foot, flex it, and on the exhale, lift it. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Move slow. The more you can hold it at the top, the better. The more you can resist as you come back down, the better. Keep the toes facing forward. Try not to get external rotation. So the hip bones are facing forward, the toes are facing forward. You're in neutral hips the whole time, neutral spine for 5. 4. Last 3. 2. And 1. Okay. Let that go. Shake it out. Let's let go of our band for a moment. Shake out our legs. And without our band, we will add the band in a moment. We're just going to move along our mat, staying in a squat the whole time and stepping side to side. Now we'll do this with our band in a moment, but I want you to feel how nice it feels to not have that band on the upper thighs. And make sure you're keeping pretty neutral. So toes facing forward, knees tracking over middle toes. Chest is high, just moving side to side, staying low. Feeling as you step out how the weight transfers. Let's go across our mat 2 more times. And then come to stand. Now you can always do that without the band again, or grab your band, bring it over your upper thighs, sit low, already feeling the resistance like in our squats. Weight stays back into heels, tucking tail, tall spine, inhale. Exhale, sit low and start to walk. Make sure to keep your feet far enough apart that you always have that bit of resistance with the band. Good. Breathing, softening the upper body as much as you can, especially neck and shoulders. Go back and forth 2 more times on the mat. That's 1. And that's 2. And then release. If you want to come to get a little stretch before we do our stuff on the ground, you can take a figure 4 stretch with one ankle on top of one thigh, seated tall, pushing yourself into that outer hip stretch. And then do the other side. Now, if you have multiple loop bands and you have a lighter loop band, you can use it for where we're going next. If you only have the heavy guy, we'll save it, not use it here. We're going to set up on our side. So you can prop yourself up. You can always bring a block underneath of your head and just stack your hips, stack your shoulders, stack your knees. And if you look back, you should be able to almost see your heels, so they're in line with your bum. And then take the sway to your low back. Bend your knees as much as you need to do that. And if you'd like to relax your head all the way down on your bicep, that could feel nice. It can also help with keeping your side waist lifted away from the ground so your obliques stay turned on. Make sure your head is not forward, it's in line with your spine. I'm going to keep my hand under my head, mostly because it's easier to talk. Top hand on the hip, take an inhale. And on the exhale, glue the heels together and lift the knee up towards the sky, squeezing the outer hip and glute. Inhale, almost tap it down, and exhale, squeeze and lift. You do not need much of a band to feel this pretty quickly, and you're keeping yourself honest with that top arm, making sure that you don't roll back or forward. So super steady through the torso and super neutral through the hips. So it's a pretty small range of motion, and at the top you should be able to squeeze and really feel it through the outer hip. Exhales the lift and squeeze, inhales the lower. Maybe close the eyes, go to that happy place. We're going to burn things out here after we've warmed them up standing. Let's go for 10, for 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax it down for a moment. Keep everything the same. And then hover the entire bent leg away from the bottom leg. Nothing's changed. Everything's in line. Knees are over one another, ankles over one another, and the leg is in the same height. So the heel is in the same height as the hip. Now keep that inhale. On the exhale, drop the knee down to touch and the heel lifts. Inhale, heels touch, knees lift like we did before. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, internal rotation. Inhale, exhale, external rotation. And just move like that. So feeling the outer hip, keep the leg lifted so you're really light off of that bottom leg. And then just turning the hip, little internal, little external. Making this a pretty small movement. You're not moving the whole pelvis. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hover the leg and straighten it. This will feel good. Point the toe. Keep the hip in line with the leg, or leg in line with the hip. And then bend the knee and extend. Inhale, bend just over the other knee. Exhale, extend. 2 more like that. Next time you extend, you stay extended. Flex the foot, just see how that feels, so toes towards you. You can always bring this top arm in front of you for a little bit of stability, because we're going to start to point the toes and find little circles. And the circles come from the hip. They don't come from the entire pelvis, so it's really easy to sway ourselves forward and back. We want to stay steady and just move through the hip, the leg. And then find those circles in the other direction. And then pause through center. Can you tap the toes forward and down and then create a rainbow and come back and down without shifting hips and torso? So it can be a small rainbow. Even I feel myself wanting to shift to get into a bigger range of motion, but that is not the point. And can you lift it? Can you flex and point the toe? Can you lift it an inch, drop it an inch, lift and drop? For 5. This is it. This is the last move on this side. 3, 2, and 1. Settle yourself onto your back. Bring the feet to the ground. Just pause. Bring that foot, the leg you just worked, ankle to the thigh, and just pause. And you might drop into a figure 4 by straightening the left leg and letting the right knee drop down and away. Or you might want figure 4 where you hug it towards you, thread the needle, where you grab the left thigh. But it's quite intense, so take your time. And then we get to do all of this on the other side. Relax your feet down. And you're going to flip yourself over to the other side, setting this up. Again, with the other side, you always have the bonus of your bottom leg having done the work, so it now gets to stabilize you. It'll get spicier a little bit faster. Again, check in with your heels in line with your bum, hip stack, shoulder stack, head as in line with your spine as you can get it, not pulling it forward. Top arm on hip, or it can always come to stabilize you. And you can always bring, I didn't say this on the other side, but you can always bring a folded blanket under your hips if you have sensitivity through putting pressure on the ground. And then we're going to take a breath. And on the exhale, glue the heels together and just lift the left knee to the sky. Inhale, drop down, tap. Exhale, lift and squeeze that outer hip and glute. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift and squeeze. Notice if you're leaning back or forward. Keep everything stacked. Keep that core turned on to help stabilize you. And the first little bit, we're just trying to find the muscles. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. That help us externally rotate without pulling the entire pelvis out of alignment. That help move the leg from the center line, out of the center line from the body. Good. And get into the breath here. Soften face, maybe soften eyes. We're here for 10, 9, 8, Last 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax it down for a moment. Keep everything the same and lift the entire leg up off of the bottom. Now make sure the heel is in line with the hip, so you haven't dropped the foot down yet or dropped the knee down. The entire leg is on the same field, same height. Good. Keep this 90-degree bend in the hip, or in the knee rather. Inhale. And then on the exhale, drop the knee down to meet the bottom, and this time the foot hikes up, internal rotation. Inhale, tap the knee, or tap the heel down, knee goes high. Exhale, knee taps down, heel goes high. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Good. Use your top arm for stability, or keep it on the hip, or even reach it to the sky if you want an added challenge. And breathe here, finding the different sensation between these two. And using the outer hip, if you haven't felt it yet, I'm very surprised. You should really feel almost like a burning sensation. This is where we get into a bit of our mindfulness, where we have to breathe through discomfort and just find the perseverance, knowing that it's not pain, that it's sensation that will eventually go away, that we're getting stronger, finding these stabilizer muscles, giving them some attention. Let's go for 6. Either direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, especially the internal rotation can be tough, but really exaggerate it. And 1, hold, hover, stretch the leg out. That'll feel good for a moment. Try flexing the foot, then pointing the toes. Good. You're going to bend the knee, hover it over the bottom. Exhale, extend the leg, kick it out. Inhale, bend and hover. Exhale, extend, reach. When you extend, make sure the leg somewhat is in line with the hips. You could draw a line from the hip to the heel. For 2. Last 1. Keep it lengthened out. Keep yourself on your side body. Point your toe. Find your circles in the first direction. This is hardest to balance, so make sure you check in with the torso, then with the hips, and then make the movement as small as needed to keep it all stable. And breathe. Go in this direction for 3. For 2. And 1. Switch it up. Go in the other direction. You'll see I close my eyes a lot because I'm just kind of going inwards, trying to feel all the parts and pieces through this bit of torture. For 3, 2, 1. Create those rainbows, so toe goes back and then forward, back and then forward. Keep the pelvis and lower leg as stable as you can. It's hard to do. Create an arch on the way. So you're going up and around, tap down, up and around, tap down. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Last little moment. Maybe write something. Maybe flex and point, and then go up an inch, down an inch. This is it. For 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. All right. Roll to your back body. Just let that settle for a moment. Take a breath. Feel how quickly the sensation changes just by getting out of the effort. Bring that ankle onto your other thigh. Maybe straighten the leg and just let the knee fall away. Eventually, you might choose to thread the needle, bringing it towards your chest and reaching for your opposite thigh. And then release. And bring your feet wide, knees knocked towards one another. Take a moment here. And then you may stay there or extend the legs. Take just a moment in Shavasana, even after more of a Pilates little workout. Take that moment to be mindful of how you feel, especially through the areas we worked in the outer hips, creating that mind-body connection, knowing how the muscles work when you move them, using the breath, and taking some of this awareness with you into life off the mat. And I leave you here for as long as you need. Stretch it out. If you want to get really spicy, you can do this whole routine again. Just start the video from the top. And you will feel this quite a bit tomorrow, most likely. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Namaste.